This can y'all play the keys? I know how to play a song or two. Okay.
I'm Simeon Pando.
Victoria Monet.
Dang. I'm Melvin Gregg.
This is another episode of Nice and Neat.
I'm Duke.
I'm Omar.
I'm Jalon.
Welcome back to another
I give it all to this fucking mic stand. If it's been done before, then I
One day I'm gonna come and surprise you guys. I'm gonna rap the whole joint.
Okay, what's the deal, y'all? Hope all is well. Welcome back to another episode. I'm Duke.
I'm Omar.
I'm Jalon, and this is another episode of the #1 podcast in all of Los Angeles, Nice and Neat. Got me here with my brothers. Man, apparently we all got something in common today. We all got a little green on. You see that?
Okay.
We all got a little green on.
The green is for the money.
Okay, we're a little early. We didn't hit St. Patrick's Day yet, but we're a little
close.
early.
We're
a little
close.
early. Man, dog, let me see. I feel like last week we had a great episode. We are getting back to getting within our regular flow of filming. Mm-hmm. You know, took a little bit time off for the holidays. I mean, just regular life, you know. I feel like I'm finally starting to get some normalcy in my house with my son being just over 1 and working through not only the individual postpartum that my wife is in, but also just what it looks like to have a new person living in your house, living, breathing, eating, maneuvering. And so it's tough, you know. So
He's big, man.
He's a big kid, dude.
He's walking around. He's walking down steps, walking up steps.
Bro,
big,
and he
dog.
learned how to do that here.
Oh, that was the first time he did that?
Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
The stepping up without needing assistance, yeah. Like, that was the first time he's ever done that. I mean, just to give him a little praise, my man is in the 98th percentile. Say he gonna be like 6'3", 6'3 and a half, 6'4", you know, somewhere in there. So we doing the right thing so far. He's gonna be big, but you know, I'm really happy that we get back to being consistent. We all have a lot of shit going on in our lives, for real, bro. Like, we all, no, seriously, we all have a lot going on in our lives, man. And just to be completely vulnerable, man, just like being in the space of being a father, being a husband, and also being a provider, and making sure all of those can work in a nice cohesive flow it's a new space for me. I've never had to operate as a provider in the magnitude that I've been in. I've never had to be a father. I've never been a husband before. So trying to make sure all of those things work and also be the leader and the standard and what we aim for, and not having ever done it before, is, you know, it's new and it's a lot. So it is super dope that we are able to get back in front of the cameras, man, and start filming again.
1000%. And I feel you so much, bro, because
I know, nigga, we talk about it all the time.
like everything you were saying, I'm like, bruh, I echo all of those sentiments. And for me, on top of all of that, what makes my life so much busier now is that I've decided to go back to school, become a full-time student, right? So investing which is so crazy, because at 36, I realized how much time I'm investing and I'm not getting paid for something. You know what I mean? When you have to provide, it's, man, bro, but it's, you know, speaking to leadership, right? It's like just something that I recognize that I got to sacrifice right now, because I feel like later on it's going to pay off. You know what I mean? And I think sometimes, you know, not to jump into the episode because we're not there yet, but, you know, just foreshadowing a little bit, like sometimes as a leader, you have to make, you know, decisions that you feel are best for you and the family. You know what I mean? Even if it takes away from your time, even if it sacrifices a little bit money right now, you know what I mean? If you feel like, and you believe in your heart truly that it's going to pay off, sometimes you got to take that chance, take that risk, you know? And for me, like where I want to go with my personal business, you know, with the Culture's Herb, and like how I want it to be, I want the proper credentials, you know what I mean? I got visions of it being in specific places, you know what I mean? And in order for it to go there, I got to have the proper acronyms before my name. You know what I mean? So like me just understanding those type of things, but that shit is so hard right now, fellas. Yes. I'm so tired. Yeah. I am so tired, bro. Like it's so, and then what sucks too is like recognizing I'm sacrificing on time that I'm spending with my daughter. I leave, she sleep. I come home, she sleep. Bro, do y'all hear me? I leave, she sleep. I come home, she sleep. There are times I'll be like, bruh, I'm low-key jealous because this is a very transparent moment actually right now. My daughter will be with my mom or
More
with,
than you.
huh?
More than you.
Yep. And then I'll reach for my daughter and she'll be like, mm-mm. And I'll be like, bro, what?
Yeah.
Right? And then it takes a couple of days and then we back on. But I realize on the stretches when I got to go to school or I'm in and out of the house and
Connecting with your mom.
We lose a connection. And that shit is like, bruh, that I see the end goal though, you know what I mean? So like I don't dwell on that, you know what I mean? I don't let it get me depressed or down, but I do recognize it. And I'm like, dude, this is a real sacrifice I'm making. And that shit is tough, man. You know what I mean? But just like the both of you, I'm doing what the hell I gotta do to provide for my family. You know what I mean? And make sure that the ship don't sink, bro.
Yeah.
Cause if it do, it's on us. We know that.
Yeah.
You know?
I feel like leadership is always just like one of those things. It's just like, yo, I'm fully embracing the role, but it's just like, it's kind of whooping my ass.
Yep.
But it's also a privilege, you know? It's also something that's just like, once you get to the other side of wherever leadership is leading you, it's like, oh yeah, like I did that. I own it, you know, and I'm glad I stuck to it and things like that. And you're going to take pride in like doing it, you know, after you do it. But it's always when you're in the process of just kind of establishing yourself as a husband, father, business owner, you know, leader of a family, leader of a household, right? That extends beyond your own, by the way. Because when you come to my house, like, you're a leader, right? Yep. You know what I'm saying? So when you come to my house, you're a leader because everyone is an extension of each other. So like, God forbid I passed away, like naturally my household will look to one of y'all. It's just like, hey, yo, you know what I'm saying? Just like, not to take the reins, but still like view you guys as an extension of me. Like, hey, what do you think about this? So I think that's just leadership is such a, you know, interesting thing, man, but it's a privilege, bro. It's a privilege to be a leader. It's a privilege to assume, because it's so much responsibility. Yeah. You know, and I think for us, people like us thrive off that. You know, we thrive off that. We actually feel purposeful by being able to be the driving force, be with for other people. You know what I mean? And I think that you guys are all excellent leaders, and I'm just excited for us this year to just continue to just be better in that department.
Nah, real talk.
Yeah, the man, talking about it though, it was like I started and then got a little I don't think I've ever been like emotional. Like I was a little emotional because I'm thinking about the things that really make it difficult is when you feel like you're going through it like by yourself, and we can always tell ourselves the narrative of I'm going through this by myself. But I know one time me and Brittany, we were having a conversation and I was just telling her like things are just a lot. And, you know, she said something to me and I was like, it doesn't really matter how I feel about that. And she's like, why you say that? I was like, because like my feelings don't really matter about it. And she said something real simple, but it made me realize I wasn't in it by myself. And she told me, she was like, yo, your feelings matter. It's like, what's going on? And when she said that my feelings matter, I've actually never really, as you know, as men, we just never really just think our feelings matter, especially in comparison to a woman. We just feel like that's going to supersede whatever it is that we feeling. They'll dominate the conversation. They'll dominate the emotional space. And she told me that my feelings matter. And I was just like, wow. And for me, it made it all right. And it made me also understand one of the biggest spaces in leadership is transparency and vulnerability, right? Super huge. Transparency in, hey, yo, this is what I'm going through. This is what I'm dealing with. And this is the plan for us to be able to get out of that. And man, me and Duke was having a conversation and he was expressing to me like, man, every time I come home, sorry, Chanel ordering something off of Amazon. And it's like, dang, dog, like, why you not ordering nothing off of Amazon? I mean, why you keep ordering stuff off of Amazon? And I remember in this moment when he said that, I was thinking about it, and I was like, he has a valid gripe, but I challenged him, and I was like, well, does she know why she shouldn't be ordering things off of Amazon? Like, is the plan for why she should not be ordering things off of Amazon, is it clear? Is it laid out? Does she understand that this $37.99 could be going to X goal? Mm-hmm. Does she understand that? And he paused for a second and he thought about it. And he was just like, nah, you know what? And I think this is super dope. The accountability that he immediately took without saying like, man, she should be ordering that. It was just like, yo, now I think about it as, man, we should do a better job at like articulating the plan. And we were just talking about leadership, right? Mm-hmm. So that leads us to the topic of this episode, man. It's just the harsh reality of leadership and understanding that the way that we led ourselves as individuals is not necessarily the way that we're going to lead our families. The transparency and the vulnerability is totally different, and it has to be out there. So we can't just rely on what we've done, but we have to rely on the communication of what we're going to do. So I'm going to ask you straightforward. Have you guys talked about Amazon yet?
No, we haven't.
Okay.
No, we haven't. But like, I'm glad you brought that up. It was great actually. And I always think about that because it is an uncomfortable like caveat of leadership. You know what I'm saying? Leadership ain't just telling people what to do. It's not just control. It's like, hey, yo, do you have the self-awareness to see, you know, where you're lacking or how to insert yourself into, you know, into like the space to influence your woman or family to just do like what the vision is. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And if the vision is not clear, you can't like expect someone to
execute,
to like subscribe to like your plan because it's not clear.
It's not clear.
Because like at the end of the day, right? And we got to be fair. At the end of the day, like people got their way of doing things. You got your way of doing things. Your woman got her way of doing things. And the only way for y'all to get on the same page is to be able to articulate it. And a lot of times we be like, yo, like just follow my example. Mm-hmm. Just watch me, you know, and watch me is not good enough, you know, because they can't emulate us because they're not us.
Yep.
Right. So, and then the other thing is like, you don't want them to emulate you because they can't play your role. What you want them to do is help you.
Yeah. That's good.
You know, what you want them to do is help you or help the team play her role. So this is what you got to do. This is what I got to do to get to our vision. But if you're, you know, withholding that the plan or the strategy or whatever the case may be, you just got it in your head and you're like, and we didn't talk about the Amazon thing, but we did talk about some variation of this, right? And she was telling me about like, hey yo, like if you don't tell me what we doing, like I'm doing my own thing. And she told me that, right? Yeah. And I was like, yeah, that's come in those lines. And it's just like, you have to be very honest with yourself, right? As a man, to be a good leader, okay? Because every man gonna stand on the table and be like, "Yo, I'm the leader," you know, and you know, argue for control. I'm the leader. It's okay. Well, you the leader, then. You the leader, then. You know what the leader means? That means okay, it's on you. Mm-hmm. That means it's on you. That means like if this thing sinks, it's on you. Are you ready for that? Are you subscribing to that? Okay, cool. That's an uncomfortable truth of leadership. All right. The other uncomfortable truth of leadership is like, hey, yo, how do you articulate with the plan when you don't know what the hell to do? Because just because you're a leader don't mean you know what to do.
Nah.
So when you get in this space where it's just like, oh man, like, oh shit, I don't know what to do, but I just want her to trust me. It's hard. What's going to happen when she says like, nah, it's not good enough? Mm-hmm. So like that is an uncomfortable thing that a lot of us have to deal with, and we did talk about that, and I was really happy that she expressed that because now I get to be more just forthcoming with, hey yo, this is what I know is right for us, right? And then that's all she really want, you know. She just want the words to match up with the man that I am, to also include her in it. You know what I mean? Because she already know the type of man we are. But it's just like, I just need the words. Like, I'm not going to tell her something that don't match up with me. You know, and I think that was tough. But yeah, she gets it. She gets it.
So you guys informing your, not informing, but informing your relationship model that is the most successful, that is the most inclusive, right? How did you even get to that point to where you're just like, yo, this is the level of transparency that we have? Matter of fact, you introduced something to us and it was financial intimacy. I know that's something that's a hot topic for everybody, but how did you guys get to the space to being open and transparent when it came to finances?
I mean, I feel like that was like the last part of transparency that we had to unlock as a couple. And I feel like that may be the last part of transparency that all couples have to unlock. You know what I mean? It's pretty easy to get physically intimate, you know what I mean? Emotionally intimate. But when you start thinking about really doing life together and understanding that, from this moment forward, we're moving as a unit, well, your decisions matter just as well as mine, right? Your actions, your past matters just as much as mine if we're talking about finances, right? Because whether it's because of your habits or just poor decisions or just being young, whatever it is, it's important to talk about it, because as we move forward, what we don't want to have is the same things popping up, right?
Continue to happen.
They don't want the same things continue to happen, right? Like, for instance, in college, I got an eviction for some dumb shit. I had a dog in my apartment. I got kicked out of my apartment, right? But like understanding, like knowing that about my apartment, like an eviction stays on your record for 7 years, right? So like, now, at the point that me and Candace were talking about being intimate with our finances and being vulnerable and sharing that thing was off my record, right? But like, how does it look when you're getting ready to go buy a house with your partner? You know what I mean? And they pull up the information, your history, and you realize you guys actually can't move forward because there's something that's hindering you, right? So it's like, well, I can't let him tell her that. So I got to be honest about, what's happening? You know what I mean? Now that's not our story, right? But that is a real story that happened. I really had an eviction on my credit history. You know what I mean? So I think if you don't decide that, if we don't have this real conversation in the moment about what our past looks like with finances, well, how do we even talk about building an empire? How do we even talk about being the goals, J and B? You know what I mean? How do we even get there if we're not talking about what our finances are? Like the most successful businesses, companies in the world, they have meetings about their finances. This is how they scale their businesses. This is how they check analytics, right? So like, why should it be any different for your relationship? I want my relationship to thrive. I want my relationship to.
There should be an aspect that your relationship runs as a business, for sure.
That would lead, based off of the history of how other successful companies and businesses do it. It would indicate that you will probably be more likely to have success in your relationship if you do, right? So thinking about that is like, well, let's have those conversations. And even though they're uncomfortable, let's have them anyway. It's all good because I accept you. I chose you. You chose me. So it ain't gonna be I can't rock with you no more. No, when I said I do, I accepted everything that come with that, and vice versa. But this conversation happened before that. But I knew I wanted to say I do to her, and I'm pretty sure she knew she wanted to say I do to me too, right? So like, let's peel back those layers, because what we don't want to do is have any surprises when we get in this marriage and we get the ball rolling. And I realize that you actually don't do a good job of saving. You actually spend recklessly. You know what I mean? You actually don't value the dollar the same way that I value the dollar. There's a disconnection here.
When did you guys step out of the space of, with your partner, I got it, to let me communicate what I got it looks like?
Like maybe 2 years into it. I think 2 years into it. Like I really was just like, hey yo, like, look, check this out. Sat her down.
It's what it is.
It's what it is. You know what I mean? Because like I just knew that it was only gonna get tougher.
Yeah.
It was gonna get tougher. You know what I mean? So I was just like, you know what? Right now, man, it's a perfect opportunity. Let me just do it. And then, but it was like, but no pressure though.
Yeah.
Right? No pressure.
Yep.
No pressure, because I don't want you to be uncomfortable. But just as a man, I'm doing this.
Yep.
You know, and I don't think it made things easier though. But just to have that reference point we can always have that like first moment where, hey yo, like I just want to show you this. Here's everything, you know. And then we didn't talk about it for a minute after that.
What does that look like? I want to show you this. Here's everything.
Yeah. So it was. I don't remember how the conversation. How I introduced the conversation, but it was honestly like, hey yo, I want us to get more serious, right? I want us to be more responsible. So this is what I want. I want us to sit down, okay? And I wasn't like, yo, bring your shit. I was just like, I want to sit down and I want to show you, just because I want to like feel like I'm doing the right thing as a man, right? I don't want to feel like I'm hiding from you, because like I take pride in being a man. So I was just like, all right, so these are my accounts. These are my investments. This is what happens if I die. You know, these are my retirement accounts, all these things, right? And
portfolio.
Yeah. And then just showed her everything. And it was just like, okay, cool. Like, it wasn't like no questions. It was just like, okay, I understand.
The great thing about that is, even though they didn't have a conversation again about it for how long, now she knows. She's aware. You know what I mean? So there's like,
it's on the table.
It's on the table, right? So that little elephant in the room is no longer present, right? Whether we have a conversation today, tomorrow, or in 3 months, I was very transparent, forthcoming. I let you in, right? So now you know, right? And also too, it also allows you the space, men the space, or whoever's in that position the space, to be upset if things are happening that don't reflect our conversation about our finances, right?
Duke talks about that a lot. Duke talks about being vulnerable.
I can have the space now to be upset, and it's okay.
And I like where you stand at with that.
Because you didn't withhold that.
Because yes,
right? So Duke is just like, hey, if she the one for you, and you told her this information, and now she want to leave, then she just wasn't the one for you.
She wasn't the one for you, and that's okay.
You just exposed her. You just revealed whatever she.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
But side note. So you do have to be willing to lose somebody.
Oh yeah.
You can only do that if you're willing to lose somebody.
Yeah.
Sometimes,
but you're rolling the dice, knowing that you probably won't.
Yes. Right? But most people don't do it only because it's a possibility. If everyone could see the future and say, yo, if I show her this, see what's gonna happen, she's gonna stay.
Yep.
But yo, show that.
Yep.
Right? But it's only because, yo, I feel like, well, if it is, you got to have that mindset where if she leave, then
she leave.
You know,
she gone, man.
Yeah, we were.
She had no reason to leave. You know what I'm saying? But
we like to talk to a lot of men and just give them the experiences that we have. And I remember I was talking to a cat and he was just like, "Man, I got this trip planned. I got the rental car, I got the hotel, I got the yacht." And like, man, I'm up to my eyeballs. I don't know what I'm gonna do about rent for real when I get back, but like, I'm gonna have to, figure it out. And all of us kept it a buck when I was like, oh yeah, we all been there, but like, you don't got to be there right now because we telling you before you in there. Like, we've all been there before, bruh, but you don't actually have to do this like this, right? And Duke was like, hey, yo, take the yacht off the table, bro. And if she not messing with it, bro, she just not for you. I don't think he took the yacht off the table.
I think he went and did all of that.
I think he did.
I think he went and did everything he said he told us.
I don't think he took the yacht off either.
I don't think he listened to us at all.
He said he was renting a Lambo. What did he say?
No, it wasn't a Lambo. It
but he did say
Corvette or something like that.
It was
somewhere he could drop the top.
It wasn't a standard vehicle.
Yeah.
But with that being said, right, can men get mad at the expectations that they created in trying to lead? Because now it's like, you aren't necessarily the leader that you showed me that you were. Can men get mad about that?
Nah, that's your fault.
Can men get mad about
the women?
About women being disappointed off of, yo, we was going to Miami, we was doing these things, and now.
Nah, bro, you set the precedent. That's your fault. This woman didn't know anything. about how you got down, how you guys traveled. This speaking to him, this was the first time that they were going someplace together.
Right.
So the expectations are whatever you set. Okay, well now you set the precedent for this lifestyle. Okay, well now it's an expectation. And you can't be mad if she's disappointed because you didn't meet that expectation, right? You told her this is who you were. You told her this is how we travel. You told her this is how we get down when we out of town.
Are expectations permanent or are they seasonal?
They seasonal if you are transparent and honest.
Okay.
But if you're not, I can respect that. If you're not transparent and because everything is based off of circumstance, right?
Hello.
Portfolio. We in the market. The market could tank. So today, I'm up. Tomorrow, I'm out. I'm not down. I'm out. Right? It can happen that fast. So tomorrow, hey, we can't move like this. I gotta let you know. I gotta show you. Hey, I don't know what happened in the stock market, but that shit tanked. And like,
This is what it is now.
this is what we got now. But if you just like, bro, I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do. Hey, babe, you still want to go to that? You still want to hit Roof Chris tonight? You know what I mean? If you're still moving with that intent and without that lack of transparency, well, then of course you can't be mad. You gotta be honest and transparent with things that happen, especially with your partner. But we're not asking you to be on the front lines on Instagram. You know what I mean? On social media with what's happening, but at least with the person that you're considering to be your companion, your partner, at least tell them. Because you're not even telling your homies.
So what are great tangible leadership qualities that somebody could legitimately start working toward today within their relationship and also just the way they lead their household?
Man, I think a great leadership quality is is your ability to diffuse conflict. All right, that's
good.
a super key, very very important leadership quality, right? And why is it a leadership quality? Is because when you are on the verge of conflict, right, you got really two options. You got diffuse or
Meet it.
Ignite or exacerbate, right? Like I'm gonna make this flame grow. Okay. And a great leader says, you know what, man, like the energy of the household is more important than like my pride right now, or the energy of the household or the health of our relationship to me is the most important thing in this moment. So how do I get that? Right.
Yeah.
As opposed to like, you know what, I'm going to match energy. You're not a leader if you match energy. Right. If someone can get
follower.
you,
Literally.
it's actually it's actually your follower.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's why I don't like hearing men say I match energy, because it's like I don't like.
You
that.
really understand what you're saying
You're not really,
by saying
you don't
that.
understand what you're saying. You dig what I'm saying? And that's
Gay.
yo, that's what the uncomfortable part of leadership is. Like, you don't have the luxury to match energy.
Yeah.
You don't have the luxury to be like, I did it because she did it. You don't have the luxury.
Nah.
Yep.
Okay. And if you're going to be someone who says, yo, I'm the leader, all right, then that means that you gotta subsidize your ego. You get what I'm saying? If that's the case, if you're gonna be like, I'm the leader, then like you can't be like, I'm matching energy. So then when a woman says, yo, I'm matching energy, you kind of gotta take it and be like, all right, you know what, that's fair because I am the leader. So what I'm gonna do is, you're gonna match energy. I'm gonna teach you. I'm gonna show you how I want your energy to be. Match that. Okay. So that's the most, like, that's very, very key. So instead of being like, your woman comes to you with a problem and she's like, yo, why did you do this? Right? Instead of being like, yo, like, why you screaming at me like that? Like, what you mad about? All right, come here. All right, what's up? What's up? Come on. You know what I mean? It has to be really like warm and friendly. Not because you think it's a joke, but because you're trying to be lighthearted before anything happens, you know? So you want to diffuse the situation and then talk. That's an important leadership trait. Another one would be...
Hold on, Turbo.
Oh, my fault. My fault.
Let me get in on this.
I think another trait, because I think what you're saying is golden. I think another trait is of a great leader is knowing when to delegate, knowing when to put the right people in a position to win, right? So I don't want to beat a dead horse, but just talking about finances, like if you know you're the man, you're the breadwinner, right? But for some reason, like you can't get control of your spending habits.
Yeah.
You have an issue keeping the money in the bank. Well, it may be a good idea to put your partner who may have a better sense of savings, finances in a position to where she's doing the bookkeeping. She's doing our budget for the month because by you keeping the reins over that, you're falling back into your ego by not relinquishing power, right? That's not a good leader. A good leader knows, hey, I'm not the right person for this job right now. We will be so much better off in a better position if you kind of took the lead on this. And I'm still the leader, right? Because I'm able to put you in position. So to me, it's like learning how to delegate, learning how to say, okay, you know what? This is not my gig.
Yep. Right there.
This is not my gig. And it's okay. There's nothing feminine about that, right? It's actually extremely masculine, knowing where I'm weak at and accepting it, you know what I mean? And putting someone in position to take over so we can still win and capitalize off the opportunity that we have right here and not letting it slip through our hands. So like, if you don't know how to delegate, if you don't know how to put people in position, you can't be a great leader either.
That's a fact.
You know, relationships are day by day journeys. We like to look at it in the macro as year over year, 10 years here. These things are day by day. And matter of fact, when you in it, it's literally moment by moment. Because this moment could lead us to a bad week, month, or even potentially thinking about not being together forever, right? Based off of how we handle it. I'm going to run with ego as well. You have to decide when your ego matters and when it doesn't. And usually it doesn't. It just usually doesn't. Man, I'll give you guys a great example. And it's because I got great advice from another father. But the other day, last night, I was putting Edison in the bath, right? He is now moving into toddler phase. So as you move into toddler phase, they want to do the things when they want to do it and how they want to do it. That's not my relationship with him. My relationship with him is like, all right, it's bath time. Let's go get in the bath. Right. So I'm taking off his clothes, take off his diaper. He likes to throw away his diaper now. If not, he'll flip. So I hand him his diaper for him to throw away. I lift him up. I put him in the tub. He flips out. Right. He's crying. I'm like, no, it's all right, man. I'm calm with him, still chilling. And Brittany peeks her head around from the corner and she was like, was he ready to get in the bathtub? And I was like, I think so. She was like, oh, yeah, well, now, sometime he wants to take a lap or walk over and grab his toys and do those things before he gets in the tub. And because he's at a space where he can't necessarily communicate, she let me know what he likes. Instantly, you want to be like, man, that's my son. I'm the dad. Like, it's good. It's time to get in. But I'm like, she knows better. This is her domain. So I said, hey, babe, thanks for that. I appreciate that. And she came and she finished up his bath and she was playing around with him and he was giggly and understood, right? Do I feel small? Yeah. Hell yeah, I feel small. When somebody is telling you about your child that came out of your nuts, yes, you feel small.
Facts.
I felt small, right? But I also wasn't right.
Right.
So being able to, the reason why I say moment by moment, being able to decipher in the moment that she's right in the moment, not tomorrow after you guys argued about it. I'm gonna be honest, I walked downstairs, I was so proud of myself. I was like, man, because you could have fought that for no reason. You know how many fights we get in for no reason? Yeah. To where you're just like, I just didn't like how it made me feel. Yeah. And I was like, oh, no, I'm not going to fight that one. So when she said that and gave me that game, I'm like, man, I'm glad that I just didn't allow my ego to take over and be like, nah, we got it. Oh, it's good. Because you want to do that. Just like you said, I'm away from my son all day. I want to be able to hang out with him. I want to do the things. But her giving me that little tidbit, I was like, nah, this is her domain. It's all good.
It makes me think about another characteristic that makes a great leader. It's great leaders know when to follow. Right? There are moments where you do have to say, I'm going to sit in the passenger seat on this one.
I hate this word typically, but it fits perfect. But humility.
Yeah.
Like just literally just showing complete humility in the situation. And just, hey, yo.
You got it.
You got it.
You got it. It's good. I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable because I trust you. I think that only happens too when you actually trust.
You know what makes it difficult? And I feel like the stigma with being a leader is you are assumed to always be right.
Yeah, that's what makes it. It's a lot of pressure.
So that's what makes it difficult, because now I have to actually express to the person who's following me that, hey, I don't know that.
Yeah.
I don't know that. You know, and honestly, some of the people who are in the highest levels that I look up to and I admire, I could ask them a question like, man, I don't know the answer to that one, but I could get back to you on that.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with saying you don't know.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with saying it when you have the data to show all of the other stuff that you know. I think so many people are in this space of, yo, I'm kind of the man, but I'm not really the man. And like that makes it feel like it drops me down a notch by saying, I don't know. Or you're right about that. And I feel like that space is the space that most leaders will battle with themselves. I don't think leaders battle with their followers. They battle with themselves. So it's like, I need to lie to myself or tell myself I'm something that I'm not in order for me to feel like I am. And I feel like that's where the problem comes from. I feel like that's where the lack of humility comes from. That's where those spaces of, I can't tell them I can't do that. Let me try to figure it out. And I'm probably going to do it wrong, or it's going to not turn out right. But I did it. Same exact way where we opened a box and we see the instructions. It's like, I can do this. I don't need the instructions for that. Right? And you're like, man, why is this bar left over? Like,
You be right over there in them instructions.
Damn.
Taking the whole thing apart.
Taking the whole thing.
Because that one piece requires you to take everything down.
Hey, I've been there. Actually, bro, this was on that side, and you did it the wrong way.
Yep.
And you reversed it. Oh my god.
Because you took it out. You said, I know what to do.
Yeah. Oh my god. I think also one thing that like one leadership quality, or one thing that all leaders do, real leaders, is they make the people around them better. All leaders.
In every capacity.
They make the people around them better.
Yep.
They help everyone's game rise a level. You know what I'm saying? Team, business, politics, whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? Relationships, friendships.
Yep.
The leader always says, you know what, bro? How can I be of service to you? What can I do for you to make you better? You know? And I think that you're not necessarily a leader if you can be in a relationship with someone and that person doesn't get better just because she's following you.
ooh, that's interesting. When we say better, right? What are we talking about? Because I feel like better can be subjective.
In her role. I think in her role.
The goal.
The role that she has as a part of the team, right? This is something that's already been agreed upon, okay? How does she get better in that role? So even delegating someone that's better at something than you can still make that person better, okay? By your encouragement, by your support, by your accountability, by the way you carry out your role, okay? Because what happens is, if O's role is more prominent than mine, when I say prominent, I mean like, optically, it's more important optically, right? But mine is just important, right? So technically his is like, people will look like at his and say his is more important, right? But let's say he kind of iffy on his role. If he see me killing in my role that's less important, he's gonna be like, oh, I gotta continue to pick my shit up. That's how it works, right?
That's a fact.
So like when you delegate, you can't delegate and be like, all right, cool.
Hands off.
Nah, you can't delegate. You gotta delegate, hands off, and then go to your shit and have the same intensity, same, focus, same drive, same effort in order to inspire that person to meet that standard.
Can I shift the conversation a little bit?
Let's do it.
Man, we were having a conversation the other day, and I just thought this was interesting, and it's super dope that it kind of just fell into this. But how do you gauge if your partner is getting better or not since you guys have been together? And what areas do you look at, and how is that gaugeable, right? So we were kind of talking about it, and I feel like some people may use like, oh man, well my partner used to be making this amount of money and now they're making less, right? However, they could have become a mother, and things have shifted. So when we look at relationship, right, and we kind of briefly talked about kind of running your relationship as a business, what will be some of those KPIs that you would look at in the growth of your partner year over year?
Yeah. So, just a quick business like metrics, all right? So, someone says, "Yo, did your woman get better?" And let's say she made less money, right? Money's the metric. You know what I'm saying? Now, if your woman got better, and let's say, did your woman get better? And you be like, how? Well, how much money did she make last year? And let's say she made more this year than last year. That means she got better in terms of money. All right. And if you say, yo, did she get better in terms of what? A mother. Okay, she became a better one. Money's a metric. Mother's a metric. Right. All these things are metrics. Right. I said that's the KPIs versus metrics. This is quick business, like little lesson. But in my relationship, one way that I know for certain my woman's gotten better is how we argue. How fast we get over arguments.
See, and that's why I use KPIs.
How
I don't think
fast?
that's a metric.
That
Because you can't be like, she went from 60% to 90%.
No,
it's a key
right.
performance indicator.
Right.
Like,
Yeah, no, so key performance indicator is the argument, right? The metric would be her emotional composure. That would be a metric. Okay, how do you regulate? What does she do that tells you that she's better with her emotional control? Okay, she gets over arguments faster.
Yeah.
Right. So like things like that, and like I could spot it like that, bro. When we start getting disputes and arguments early on, they used to last like days and like trickle on to weeks, you know, and we would just kind of brush over it. But now, like, they be done so fast. It's like minutes, you know what I mean? And we both can have humility to say, you know what, like, it's not worth it, you know, and not linger it. Because sometimes we have like propensity to want to like not let it go. But we both have that now where it's just like, nah, it's all good. Let's just forget about it. And then 5 minutes later, you don't think about it. You don't think about it. So that's how I know, like, okay, with time, she's getting better. We're getting better with like our arguments and shit like that. You know what I mean? It's also in my relationship, she's also getting better. I just talked about this, right? Of her stepping into spaces where she thinks she can't do something, or she thinks she's not going to enjoy something, but she's really like trying to do something, like the Super Bowl party, things like that, which is, I didn't know it was going to be important to me like that. You dig what I'm saying? But I just know, like, I see the shift in her. I'm like, oh shit. The other day I was like, man, you're really good at that. Like, come on, man. Try to take my last name real quick. She like that. And I'm like, yo, I see stuff like that all the time, bro. All the time, you know. Even like some of the decorations we do in this house now, she's into that now. So I know she's getting more into that like home wife mode. Okay. So it's feel good.
So it just like to you, it just depends on what metrics you decide to use.
Yeah.
For each category.
Yeah, I think it's hard for like, it's so many layers. You know what I mean? It's just so many layers. Like,
and that's the conclusion we got to. It's so many layers, right? Because making less money may lead to helping me be a better father.
Right.
You know, so like it's just so many layers to when you are combining. It's not just me. We can't just use a metric based off of just me when we're a family.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever had the gumbo and was like, man, the sausage was bomb.
Correct.
Go with your
like that's crazy to isolate that out of just convenience of probably somebody's point. You know, I think we were having the conversation and people were just frustrated with their partners and they wanted to kind of like voice it, but you know, you try to pick a convenient metric to express your anger. So it's like, man, you know what I'm saying? Like, man, she
money, like
she's making way more money before it is, and it's just like, yeah, bro, you guys have 2 kids, you know, so it's like, all right, what we talking about here? So I thought it was interesting. I thought it was really, really interesting. I thought it was super dope because I actually think it's out of pocket to do a KPI on your partner as an individual, but I think you guys can do it as a relationship, as a unit, and it'd be like, yo, we're suffering here because the whole point of getting married is to be together and do everything together.
Yeah.
So if we're looking at, hey, yo, you didn't do this and you did this, it's like, no, we need to figure out how we can get stronger here.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
how we can build up this area. Like, because imagine going into a meeting room and you guys are on the same side of the ball and you guys are only talking about what people aren't doing individually. But when you guys look at the stat sheet, you say we're 32nd in defense. You can't talk about the DBs.
Talk about the whole defense.
You can't do that. Yep. So I thought it was super interesting. You know, and I'm glad ultimately you said it's layers to it. It's way too many layers.
I think like this person, it sounds like someone can become like the metric could just be like, yo, she's a better wife, all right, or he's just a better husband, and in that there's the money, there's the work ethic, there's the support, there's the consideration, there's all those things, there's the patience, and yeah. How about you? Like, how do you quantify where like your woman is getting better or getting worse?
Man, I would say time management. As we know, you know, time is one of the most expensive commodities, right, that we have. It's fleeting. Okay? And especially, you know, when you become a parent, it's like, bruh, right? So watching someone go from a free spirit, I'm a creative.
The vibes.
I just be vibing.
The vibes.
I just be vibing to like, oh, actually, we got to actually implement a little bit of structure here. Because the free flowing, even though it feel good,
that ain't it.
Hey, even though it feels good,
it feel good, but it's not helping us.
No,
it's not helping.
That ain't it, Chief.
That ain't it. So like watching my woman,
the vibes be crazy.
The vibes be crazy. But watching my woman become a mother and recognizing, understanding, oh man, I don't have as much time as I once had. I got to be a little bit more strict. And you know, being an athlete, a pro athlete, like I love that. I love that. I'm so structured. I'm hour to hour with how I am with my time. So watching my partner doesn't need to do that, but I understand that it's possible that it could make us better as a unit if we do value time more and structure it and manage it properly. So watching her be more conscious of that. Now, she's not perfect. This is something that she's trying to build herself into becoming. You know what I mean? So does it perfect? Not by any means, but I recognize the progress. You know what I mean? And I love that. Like, I absolutely love that because that has been something in the past that I've been like, bruh, like, I feel like that's gonna hurt us one day. You know what I mean? You know, and I could be wrong, but that's just based off of my experience. But I just think based off of my experience through like being more structured with your time leads to more success. Yeah. And it allows us to have to plan now the free time so we can hang out. Yeah. Like if all of our time is going to the household, our work, the baby, well, where do we live? Yeah. Where does that leave space for us to continue to flourish so we can continue growing?
We gotta not go with the flow right now.
We cannot do that.
Yeah.
Nah, it's dope the grace that you have for that space, because I mean, how long do you think now that she's been saying, let me be a little bit more strict about my time? I think it's super dope that you have grace for that. How long do you think that now she's looks at time and says, this is important and I need to lock in on this?
I would say since becoming a mother.
Perfect.
Because it takes something like that to happen in your life, to where you're like, oh, this is serious. I gotta buckle down. Yep. You know what I mean? I don't think that she would have been as quick to trying to pivot had we not had a baby. You know what I mean?
So less than a year.
Yes.
Right. And this is, you were in school, so learning new things for you is normal, but learning new things for most adults is not normal.
Yeah.
You have a thirst for learning, right?
Yeah.
Which means that you have a curve of, yo, I don't know it today.
Yep.
And I got to get better. And you need to be patient with me as I'm learning this.
Mm-hmm.
I think we forget about those things, especially when it comes to our partners in learning these things. So as we are maneuvering through leadership, we knew how to lead ourselves, and we knew how to lead what family we never had. We had the thought of it, and we had what we wanted it to look like. But now it's like, okay, cool. I have this specific person who wants me to lead this way. We need grace in that space.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we need grace when it comes to, okay, now I got my girl, now we got our kids. We need grace in that space. We've never done this before, right? Only data that we have are the 30 plus years that we did by ourselves, right? So we know who we are in that space, but they're still learning. So they got to have grace for us. We got to have grace for them in their learning curve. I think it's so important, again, when I speak to the transparency in the dialogue, we got to always understand that communication is the shortest distance between two people. Mm-hmm. So in communicating, hey, this is what we're doing this month. This is what it looks like. Me and Brittany, we had our family meeting at the top of the year to go over what our goals look like and our finances and our date nights and our travel and all those things. Got a little heated, you know. I think it should. Right. I think when you're passionate about the direction of your relationship, things should get a little heated. Mm-hmm. Things should be a little passionate, and people should have their opinions and be able to express it. The space should be safe enough for it to get heated. Mm-hmm. Right. And it was so good, and we achieved so many things that we wanted to achieve in just a month. We're like, hey, yo, every single month,
gotta do it.
We have to do the same exact meeting. Mm-hmm. And this is how we're going to progress moment over moment. You know, I was speaking to an older gentleman, and he was just letting me know, if we understand that the divorce rate is over 50%, do you know how radical you have to be in achieving a successful relationship? You have to do everything hard. Everything has to be hard.
Said radical. How radical?
You have to be very radical.
No, that's great.
We have to understand, okay, cool, where are we at with this? What does this look like? Sure. How are you feeling? Where are your emotions at? Okay, I felt this was this the other day. Really be in tune with your partner, because what he was saying is, when we lack that space is when we fall into that 50%. Mm-hmm. And when we don't have direction, when we don't have vision, as you spoke about, that's when we fall into that 50%. Mm-hmm. It's kind of hard to leave somebody when y'all got a vision. Mm-hmm. It's kind of hard to leave somebody and you invest it and it's clear and you're like, yo, this is what our year's supposed to look like. Divorce ain't a part of our year.
At all.
It's not a part of it. We got this month. We got this next month. Okay, and then we doing this. I know a couple, and I'll leave you guys with this. I know a couple that were planning their 10-year anniversary, and they were planning for probably about 18 months. In the last 6 months, it got real rocky, real rocky. Because everything was planned out for the year, they looked at each other and they're like, are we still gonna take this trip? And they're like, I mean, it is 10 years. I mean, all right, we ain't gonna have the big extravaganza that we were gonna have, but we'll still take the trip. And 2 years later, they're still together. Mm-hmm. And I really think it was because everything was just planned out for the year. It wasn't whimsical. It wasn't like, let's see what it looks like. But things were planned and they were put into motion. So their vision was clear on where they want to be at by the end of the year. Not saying speed bumps not going to happen, but their vision was really clear. So I think it's very important as a leader to just make sure that the vision is clear.
Clarify that thing.
Yeah.
That was good. But look, y'all, if y'all still with us right now, do me a favor. All right, I need you to take a picture. All right, take a picture of the screen that you're looking at right now. I want you to post it on your story. Tag us. All right, and let all your peoples know that you watching Nice and Neat and you tapped in with us and you vibing with us. All right, I hope you guys enjoy something. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode and took something away and learned something. All right, till next time. I'm Duke.
I'm one more.
I'm Jalan. This is another episode of Nice and Neat, and that's that.
I'll be the one to take the risk to go and get them bands. I'll be the one to never sit and go and make a plan. Knowing my mother getting old and I don't got no time. Gotta keep a couple for the road, the rest get left behind. Yeah. To the hundreds, pledge allegiance I stand. I'm going to pull 4 in the fucking white sand.